pastoring and doing his job, Father Matthew Howell. So we'll see him back on Thursday, but we're doing a special edition. I know we normally do this on Thursdays, but for those who don't know, a directive went out from the Antiochian Archdiocese and also just went out from the Greek Orthodox Archdiocese of America, both saying that they're changing their services and encouraging live streaming. And so my guest today, Father James Shadid from St. George in Houston.
Hi there, Deacon Adam.
And you've been live streaming before this.
Yeah, probably for about the past 3 to 4 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so what I like about that was I think you can share some of the reasoning behind why you guys did this a while ago, and what I want to talk about it. And then I have some technical information I'll share later, but I just wanted to get started on that. Before we get started, I rarely remember this, but do you mind starting us with a short prayer?
Sure. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, one God, amen. O heavenly King, O Comforter, the Spirit of truth, who art in all places and fillest all things, treasury of good things and giver of life, come and dwell in us and cleanse from every stain and save our souls, O gracious Lord. O Christ, our God, who have the serve of all mercies, look upon this your creation. Heal us and allow us to serve and to do your will in all things, for you are blessed unto the ages of ages.
Amen.
Amen.
Okay. So was this your idea, or did someone else bring it to you to start live streaming at St. George?
You know, thank God, here in Houston at St. George, we have a wonderful group of young adults. They have their own ministries, but it was really through their knowledge and their capabilities. They just asked for the blessing and they ran with it. So it started via Facebook at the beginning. And now it's turned into something you don't even have to be a Facebook member. You can acquire just by being on our website and be logged into all the live stream services. We do have a collection of archives as well.
Oh, that's wonderful. And if I remember correctly, they really did a superb job of your setup. It was not like a fly-by-night camera rig.
At the beginning, you know, these phones that they make today are pretty impressive. So at the beginning, it was pretty much just on the chanter stand. There was a tripod that was set just right by the chanter stand. Then it went to 2 cameras with one on the front pew and one on the chanter stand.
Wow.
And then probably about a year and a half ago, again, some of the young adults asked if we could invest in a relatively nice camera. Again, something that was not a problem for us, and really, I think for any parish, it wasn't that expensive.
That's the one. That's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Yes, and that's permanently set in the back of the church. Yeah, just right around the balcony area, so it has a widescreen view, if you will.
I'm going to share a link to your page.
Sure.
So that I'm going to do Facebook first, and I'll share the website later. But you can get to the website from the Facebook page. But basically, one of the reasons I reached out to you was that I liked the quality of what you had on in terms of long term. You know, you want to have a good sound. In sound, in my opinion, is most important. And I felt like I could hear everything, I could see everything. Good. So I want to thank you for your setup. So I hope as people are thinking about this long term, there are some temporary solutions I'm going to talk through after you and I are done. But long term, there's some really professional options. I came up with 2 ideas or 2 categories of people in my thinking where this would be valuable. The first one was either like, you know, parishioners that are homebound for whatever reason, or caregivers.
Exactly.
Yeah. Was that your primary motive?
That was our primary motive. You know, we do have a lot of knowledge that there's just sometimes maybe someone can't come, or maybe they're on a business trip. Literally, maybe they're on an airplane. So we've gotten a lot of messages from those people as well. But the main reason was for those who cannot come, as well as their caregivers. One thing we have failed to do, which probably needs to be done, is, you know, encourage people not just to watch like they're watching a movie, or not just to come and go, but really to make a prayerful setting in their own homes, so that it's not just like they're watching a movie with a cup of coffee or some food or something. But that's one thing we probably haven't stressed enough, is for those that are watching to make a prayerful setting in their home, so that they
I
can
think,
be part of the service and part of the prayers.
yeah, I think that's important to stress. This is not an equal substitute to being at the service.
Right, right.
But it is comforting and consoling to those who can't be there.
Sure, sure. And again, I credit all the young adults. There's many people who, um, even when a live stream service isn't on, they'll watch some of our archives, just
Hmm.
for the sake of giving a person something to listen to. You know,
Right.
sermons, chanting, the choir singing. Yeah.
Father Thomas Hopko was really good at helping me realize, for a long time, the church was able to, the church had all of the information guarded about what it meant to be Orthodox. And you
Sure.
got all of that from visiting, and you got all of that from books or talking to a priest. But for many years now, we need to admit that people have been able to basically, in their own mind, become an expert in 48 hours on the internet of what the Orthodox Church is like.
Right,
They're
right.
able to see the services, see pictures. And so the more that I think there's a missionary activity here, in that local people in your community can see what you're doing and
Right,
develop some
right.
interest in your church.
Sure, sure.
Do you know of any people that have come to, I know of other communities that have done this. I don't know if St. George has experienced any visitors that saw you online first before they came.
Yes, I can't say of any that have become full-time
Mm-hmm.
members, but yeah, we've definitely had people. Um, Houston's a city that many people pass through.
Mm-hmm.
So there are many people that uh, saw us on Facebook, knew they were going to be here for some work kind of convention over the weekend, and because of that came to our services.
If this doesn't put you on the spot, and you can decline to answer, but I'm kind of curious. I think what you talked about earlier is good in that giving some guidance on how to participate at home. Do you think you're going to do that in a letter or like a private email? Do you think you might address it on the camera, this Sunday? Like, how are you thinking about addressing this?
Sure. I mean, it could definitely be done, on the camera. We do have a publication called The Messenger, like many
Mm-hmm.
other churches, where it could be addressed in that, or even by email. As many churches, that's the way we communicate with our people instantly. And so, this could just be a very short paragraph, kind of highlights of how to watch the liturgy online at home. Um,
Right,
we don't want to get too much into the semantics, but hey, if you want to light a
right.
candle, but definitely, it's, like I said, it's not something where you should be just sitting on a couch. If you're able to stand up, almost pretend as if you're just in the church. Yeah.
I think it would. I think there's some value. Like I said, we're not saying it's a substitute, but there is a degree at which we commit ourselves, whether a candle. Some of us have incense at home,
Sure. Sure.
and standing for as much of it as we can. Like we can still commit ourselves physically.
Right.
We can still try to engage in God. God is a merciful God, fortunately, and knows
Right.
what we're dealing with. And so, but this is a difficult time period, for
Sure.
us. And so, but I appreciate that, that encouragement that we can probably participate more than we might want to. This isn't like watching a TV show or watching a
Right.
movie.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Correct.
we want to try to avoid. I think the good word that what we want to try to avoid, and this is difficult, is being spectators.
Exactly. Exactly.
And that's going to be difficult through a camera, but we're watching something that's live, or the recordings, but especially even with a live feed, knowing that this is happening right now, even though it's not in my proximity, it's happening right now, and trying to have that respect and reverence of what I'm
Right.
trying to engage in.
Right. I mean, someone will definitely be using a electrical device to access it, but it might be just something as simple as saying shut off all other
Right.
devices while you're watching this one.
Yeah, yeah. Our plan, depending on which services I'm at or not at, is to basically try to do this on the laptop and turn up the sound and make that our focus.
Right.
We can turn off the phones and focus. And
Right.
that's really going to be key. Do you have anything else anything interesting about live streaming that's kind of happened to you? You've been doing it now for a while, so I guess it's not really much of a topic of conversation these days.
Right. No, I really don't. Again, I cannot stress enough the young adults in our parish. They're the ones that really did this, and so I don't want to speak for them, but I know it's not that hard. I know it's not that difficult, and it's very cost effective. It costs virtually nothing once you have the original equipment. So it's something, even if the pastor or someone in the administration couldn't do it themselves, I'm sure there's some capable people in the parish that could do it very easily.
I like the recommendation that you said you started with Facebook. It's free, it's easy. Most people have it, and then you move towards incorporating it into your website. So I think that's a really great vision to work towards for people who are trying to figure out where they want to go with this.
Right.
That's probably the goal, is to eventually incorporate it into your website.
Right. Exactly. And again, it's the people in charge who know what they're doing, but there's notifications that get sent. Hey, in 30 minutes, the Akathist service will begin. Hey, in 30 minutes, this service will begin. So it's kind of a whole package deal. Yeah.
I like that there's notifications. That's one of my reasons I like Facebook, is because it notifies people that follow your page.
Right.
And so they find out what's going on.
Right.
Well, that's it on my questions for you. I have a lot of technical stuff. You're welcome to hang around. You don't have to.
That's your forte, brother. I can't offer any help. Thank you.
But if you don't have anything else to share, I think you've been very helpful in kind of helping people see that this is a ministry that can be a part of your church.
Right. And a very easily accessible one.
Yeah. Yes. I really appreciate that. Well, I'm going to share some technical stuff. Thank you so much for coming on short.
Thank you.
This is all last minute. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye. That was Father James Shadid in St. George, Houston, Texas, talking about live streaming for the last few years. And if you're looking at doing this as a new effort for your church, I'm going to go through some of the stuff that you may not have answers to. And if you've got somebody smart in your church, I'm not the best expert out there. So I'm not going to try to trump someone that's in your church. But if you're looking for someone to talk to, I am available both through the Department of Missions Evangelism page. That's facebook.com/mission Antiochian Missions. You can also go to our website, missionsevangelism.com. And so I'm just going to go through some options. What we just looked at basically from St. George, that camera cost, I think, in the neighborhood of around $2,000. There was some technology expertise involved in installing it and setting it up. It's a really wonderful long-term plan. And so I want you to think about that in terms of the long-term plan, the larger churches. It's permanently mounted, has a great zoom and a great audio feed. And so if you're looking towards that, that's what I want you to keep envisioned. However, most of our churches that are probably tuning in, you're not doing much, or maybe you're doing it from a smartphone and you're trying to figure out how to move forward. If you're doing it with a smartphone, what I recommend is try to do it with a smartphone with a headphone jack. There are still some that have one. For example, I have a Samsung. It still has a headphone jack. The reason that's valuable is because you can have it plugged in for charging. Let's say you're going to live stream this coming Sunday morning, and you're going to do Orthros and Divine Liturgy, and you're looking at 2.5 hours. Your battery's not going to make it on a live stream. You're going to need to plug it in. If you have that headphone jack, for about $40 or $50 today or tomorrow, you still have time to order what's called a shotgun microphone. That's what you're looking for, a shotgun microphone. I'm going to put it in the comment section of a couple that I recommend for $40 or $50 that adds onto your phone, and it plugs into the microphone jack, that headphone jack, and all of a sudden you've got a great microphone. You set that up, you put the phone on about a $20 or $30 tripod. You can get them at Walmart, Target, Best Buy. Best Buy would be my preference because they're going to be more prepared to help you set up your smartphone on a tripod. And then you plug in the power, you plug in the shotgun mic. And the great thing about the shotgun mic is there's nothing to do. It just plugs right into the headphone jack and you're done. You don't have to set anything up. You point it towards the holy doors and you're all set. If you don't have a headphone jack, you're going to need to get that camera as close as possible, and you're going to need to test that audio and see what it sounds like. And when I mean test it, I mean really test it. Have some chanting. You know, if you're the priest or the deacon, do a litany. See what that sounds like and see how intelligible it is. Talk for 30 to 60 seconds like you're giving a homily. See if that makes sense. But, you know, you're going to really struggle if you don't have the headphone jack. So I would just consider maybe moving on to another option. I don't recommend laptops, even though they have built-in microphones and built-in cameras. They're not really made for streaming this many feet away from them. And so I think you're going to get frustrated or frustrate your audience if you're looking at a laptop. Tablets can work, but they're going to involve a little bit more of a setup in terms of getting that tablet mounted on a tripod. You're going to have to order some custom hardware to make that fit. You can still do the shotgun microphone, but like I said, it's not going to be as easy as that smartphone with a headphone jack. If you have an iPhone, the last one that did that is an iPhone 6 or 6S. So if you have someone in the church that's willing to let you use that and you have Wi-Fi, it's really easy to set them up. If you're on the smartphone, the last thing I'll say about that is you're going to need to figure out what platform to stream to, and most of us are going to stream to Facebook. And I want to explain exactly how to do that. You might be thinking you want to stream to YouTube, and hold off on that for a second and just listen to me on why you want to do Facebook. The first reason is Facebook notifies everyone when we go live. So they're going to market this for us. Think about that. Facebook, who a lot of us get frustrated with, is going to go out and tell everyone that you've gone live, everyone that likes your page. So let's take advantage of that marketing. The second thing people worry about is we have parishioners who don't have Facebook accounts. That's not a problem if you're going live on your Facebook page. Your Facebook page, think of it like a website. It's your personal website on Facebook. And so whatever you do is public to the world on your Facebook page. It's not private. And so if you live stream on the page, everyone can see it. And all you have to do is share the URL for your page in an email blast to your church, and they can see it from their phone, from their laptop, from their computer. It doesn't matter what they're doing. They can see it. So I recommend for those two reasons that you go with Facebook. If you still want to go with YouTube, you might not be eligible, depending on how many subscribers you have or depending on how old your YouTube is account. You might see if you go and try it that you don't have the eligibility. If you do and you want to go that route, there's nothing wrong with it. I just think it's harder to get those notifications out on YouTube. It takes longer to set that up. And we're looking at trying to get things going for a lot of these churches this weekend or tomorrow night, depending on what the setup is. So the fastest route to get started would be a smartphone with a headphone jack. Go ahead and go to Amazon or Best Buy and order that shotgun mic. Get that going right away. Get your $30 tripod. And like I said, for less than $100, you're streaming and it sounds good. The reason I'm talking about that is sound is more important than video quality. I don't know if you believe me or not. I make documentaries for the Antiochian Archdiocese, and I will tell you that if I'm doing an interview or if I'm recording some footage, the most important thing is the audio. If I get great audio and the video footage is difficult, that's okay. But I've had some great interviews where they looked great and the audio was messed up and I couldn't use it. It's the same as true as for this live streaming, is the audio needs to be as great as possible. And so that's why you need that shotgun mic involved. If you're ready to spend a little bit more money, you can actually get going with something nicer called a Mevo or Mevo Plus. That's one of my preferred cameras for live streaming. And what it basically does is it connects to your Facebook account. It can also connect to Twitter, I think Instagram, YouTube, whatever platform you want to go with. It works off of Wi-Fi. And then you're going to have something that you pan with. It has a great microphone. You're going to need to be able to plug it in, and you're going to need to be able to mount it on a shelf or on a tripod. But it's a much better option than the smartphone. You're going to like it better. It will stream to Facebook at the Facebook's highest streaming quality. I think the Mevo will stream up to a Blu-ray quality, which is 1080p. Facebook typically only lets you do 720p, which is about a DVD quality. It still looks great. There's nothing wrong with DVD quality. Like I said, audio is the most important. And with that Mevo Plus, you're going to get a better microphone than you are with a built-in microphone of your smartphone. So that's something that you can get going this weekend if you get started right away. The Mevo Plus is still available on Best Buy. I checked Amazon just recently, and it's already out of stock, and it's not going to be in until probably next week. If you want to wait on that and get it from Amazon next week, that's fine. It's not that big of a deal. It's a really good camera that's going to last you a long time. But if you have a really deep church like Father James did in St. George, you might want to figure out how to get it closer or look at that $2,000 camera, because you're going to need something with a really good zoom. With the Mevo Plus, you're going to get a little bit closer. Same thing with the smartphone. So I've talked about product options in terms of smartphones, tablets, the Mevo Plus that I like. The Mevo, like I said, is on Best Buy right now. If you order it today, you'll have it by Friday. For streaming platforms, I talked about Facebook and why that's most important. Like I said, if you want to try YouTube, just go test it before you let people know that that's what you're going to be doing. On the Facebook page, you're going to need a Facebook page app. It's called Pages Manager. When you're looking for it in your app store, it's got a white circle with an orange flag. And you're also going to need to share your Facebook page URL through the email. And I think I already told you, but if I didn't, if you need help finding that and no one that you have access to can help you find that, just contact me and I will give you your Facebook page URL that you can send out in an email. When you're setting all this up, this is a great opportunity to connect. We are starting to crave live interaction with one another. And whoever's setting this up, I recommend you go live when you're setting up. Tell the faithful that are following your page what you're doing. Say, hi, I'm Deacon Adam. I'm at church. We're setting up the live streaming. We're going to test it. If you want to watch us do this, you can see what we're doing. You can comment below what you think about the different angles and the placement and start to get some engagement going on and let them know that we care and we're trying to connect and we're working on it. It gives them something edifying to check in on, that, wow, my church leadership is really trying to help us connect and have a little bit of a conversation. Once that's set up, I recommend also for our clergy, especially our pastors, if you can get this Pages Manager set up on your phone, you could go live every day with a message to your faithful who you're not going to get to see as often. It can be a 1-minute message. It doesn't even have to be that long. And the church is giving us Saints of the Day, is giving us the daily epistle, the daily gospel reading, and just share a 1-minute live message from you that's authentic, that they get to connect with you daily and know that you care about them and that you're praying for them. Maybe you say a prayer for your church quickly. But whether it's 1 minute or 10 minutes or however long you have to give, the more often you can go live and give some live, authentic interaction for them. This is something that I think our society is going to start to crave. We can only watch so many movies and so many TV shows before we want that live interaction, even as introverts. So I encourage, take advantage of that. Even that's a little bit side from live streaming. What I'm saying is you don't have to live stream just the services. You could live stream a homily. You could live stream a Bible study. You could live stream a talk about today's gospel. Take advantage to start flooding the internet with Orthodox holiness. Share something that's meaningful to you and do that on a regular basis, knowing that we have a lot of people home that really could be comforted and consoled by this. Some filmmaking tips, as I talked about earlier, that I make documentaries for the Anglican Archdiocese. You want to be as close as you can in terms of the sound, but for the picture, what I want to tell you is make sure that you can at least see the deacon's doors. If you get so close that all you see is the holy doors, actually, it could be a little bit different because Father's going to come in and out during Orthros through those side doors, depending on, some of our churches might have the priest and the deacon serving. So just keep in mind that you want to have someone in the picture at all times. And so what I recommend is really giving the chance for the audience to see the whole iconostasis. If you have a really wide iconostasis, you might want to zoom in to those deacon doors. I wouldn't put the tripod directly in the middle of the aisle because you're going to do the great entrance. So what you'll do is just put it off to the side in one of the pews If you're going to have 5 people there, maybe mark off that pew so they stay away from it. And that's where your tripod is. You can run electricity to it and tape that down temporarily while we don't have a lot of church people in the church, while you look for that long-term solution, right? So this is what we're trying to do short-term while you're figuring out the long-term solution. I would also recommend that if you're going to have any bit of keep it away from the loudest people in the church. So if you're going to have a choir of 5 and 1 chanter, move it towards the chanter. If you're going to have no choir and 4 chanters, move it away from the chanters, because the audio peaking is going to make it difficult. Remember, our audio is always what we're looking for. So be mindful of where you're putting it and depending on who's going to be loud in the church. If you can do eye level from where the priest will do the homily. All of our churches have different size amvons. Some are coming down off steps. Some are still elevated. But try to have the camera at least eye level during the homily. Ideally, you would want it 2 or 3 feet above that, but that might be difficult in this short-term planning. Just think about that moving forward. And that's basically it on live streaming the services. We also have a couple other live stream things that I talked about, giving the edification messages. For those that are needing to do some parish council meetings, we have freeconferencecall.com for audio calls. It's free and easy to use. So if you want to have an audio meeting that doesn't cost anything, my favorite video conferencing feature software is Zoom. They have free options, but you're probably going to be looking at a paid version. What I love about moving into Zoom is that if you want to do your parish council meeting, you could do a Bible study and bring in 5 or 10 people. You could do a catechism class with Zoom, and it's month to month. And so if you only want to commit to this for, the short period of time that we're not able to come together, you could just sign up for 1 or 2 months with Zoom and have a really great experience for people that can't come together physically. And then when it's ready to go back to in-person meetings, we could cancel that. And so I just want you to consider all that. Also, from the Antiochian Orthodox website, in case you didn't know that, they put together a number of services you can do from home. So one of the things that we've done is in my family, we've done the live streaming plus doing the at-home services, the reader's version of Orthros, of Typica, that kind of stuff. I'm trying to give my family everything I can and not just limit it. And so that's what I would kind of consider is, don't just do the live streaming. Make sure you're still praying as a family. We have the Typica services available. We have reader services all over the Antiochian.org website. If that's your jurisdiction, you want to go check that out. I haven't had time to check out the other jurisdictions, but definitely make sure that gives you an opportunity to actively participate in a home service. If you're by yourself, you can still pray that as well. You don't have to be a family. You can be one person and praying that. Or you might have a friend that you be willing to get with in your church, and the 2 of you pray together, right? And there's even more spiritual for that. Let's see here. We have a question about Target mobile kiosk. They will help you set things up. Yes, I think pretty much there are a lot of smartphone stores or mobile kiosk areas that they'll be excited to help you figure out how to get going. And then we also have a headphone adapter. Here's what's good. Now, the adapter, I would say, we have a comment on using the headphone adapter. Make sure your phone's going to be able to live stream off its battery for 2.5 hours, or that you have an adapter that lets you plug in the power and the audio microphone at the same time. If you can do that, then great. And there's probably adapters out there. I haven't researched that option yet because I threw this show together really quickly. But Kenny has shared a link in here of one that would work for the headphone adapter. It's Type-C, so that's good. And then there's also there's that link that he shared twice in there. So that's something to consider moving forward. So that's all of my information for you. Like I said, if you need help in any way, feel free to reach out, and I don't mind assisting with this. I do a live stream show every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern called Stories That Work. This is a special edition that we're doing because we have many churches in North America moving to live streaming. And for all I know, we have a lot of churches around the world moving to live streaming. I haven't been able to keep with those international churches and what they're doing. So feel free to reach out to me if you want help. You can go to missionsevangelism.com. For the quicker information, if you want to reach out, go to facebook.com/Antiochian Missions. And I'm going to share that right now in that should be how you're watching. But basically, if you contact me through the page, I'll be able to get back to you much faster than if you contact us through the website. That website message has to trickle down to me, and it eventually gets to me. But some of you might be time sensitive, trying to get this up and running as quickly as possible. Thanks for watching, and sorry that we had so much technical information, but I really want to make sure we're trying to comfort people and console people. You know, we do have some people that aren't quite ready or comfortable reading some of the services home yet, and I would encourage you to move towards that. If you're not ready to do the Typica by yourself, you can start to practice it. You can just read it, even if you don't feel like you can chant any of it or intone it. It's value. It has spiritual benefit even from just reading it. And some of us are gifted musically different than others, or don't have a musical gift like me. I'm not musically gifted. Fortunately, my wife is, and my wife can take us through the Typica service and does a beautiful job of it. We've also done several other services together as a family. And that's it on online resources. As I have more stuff come to you, I will let you know through this channel what that is. But we have another, for power and audio, Kenny, thank you, has shared another adapter. So there are adapters out there. I just didn't have time to research them. But hopefully that'll get you started. And hopefully we're going to have, hundreds and hundreds, maybe thousands of churches that, because they're not able to, they're live streaming, and let's flood the internet with Orthodox holiness this weekend. God bless and take care.